All right, welcome to my channel. This is the first video, and I'll give you a little bit of where I'm at, because I'm at the beginning, but not super beginning, and then go from there. So I am basically on week 2 of 100 Devs. It is a free program by a guy named Leon, who basically last year in 2022 went on Twitch and streamed for 30 weeks straight, 2 times a week, for about 3 hours. And he did these 3 hour long videos of teaching people how to code. With the whole purpose is not to make money. The whole purpose is to really help people who want to make that transition. So I just heard about him in December 2022 when the cohort kind of ended, and now there's a bunch of us who are jumping on late to the game. We're part of the catch-up crew. So what that means is all the videos are already done and made, and now they're on YouTube for us to be able to consume and work through. This is not something to take lightly. This is something that you have to want to do. But it is 30 weeks of 2 days a week, long sessions, plus a lot of homework. So I am on week 2 and class 3. So I just finished class 3 and I'm at the beginning of week 2. He did his streams every Tuesday, Thursday. I'm kind of varying the days that I'm doing them because I'm also working on a project management course on Coursera. But that's kind of what I'm doing. So the first 2 classes, essentially, what we talked about is what this program is, what's required of us, and it involves doing those videos. It involves learning how to learn, making sure that we are doing things in a way that is helpful for us to be able to learn and consume. And I'll put the resource down below for a free course I took on Coursera that he recommended that kind of teaches you how to learn. So put that out there as well for you. And then that was kind of part 1 of the homework. And then class 2, we started with HTML. Now, I do have some background in HTML and CSS. By no means am I an expert, but 15, 20 years ago, probably 20-ish now, I did Dreamweaver and kind of made my own files and the structures and put things together with HTML and CSS. Now, I don't remember much of it, but over the years, I keep going back to random tech coding stuff. Now I build websites for entrepreneurs, and I mainly do that on platforms that are like drag and drop, like Squarespace or Wix or Elementor on WordPress or things like that, so that I don't have to do the full coding, but also because I want my clients to be able to make changes and have power over their websites. And a lot of them want to use those platforms. So I make sites on that for them. But in that, I've kind of revisited different HTML things, different CSS things. So it's one of those things that I always seem to be coming back to, which is one of the reasons I think this is a good direction for me. Whether it turns into I decide to do project management, which has a lot of the skills that transfer from healthcare and that I'm really good at, or if I choose to use project management in a tech company. My husband's a software engineer, so I kind of have a view of that side of the world, which is so different from healthcare. And it sounds fun and interesting to me and something different. So my goal is really get moving, really dive into this. I think 2 years ago I did do Code Academy, HTML, and CSS as well. Once I got to JavaScript, I gave up. So that's kind of where I am. Things get tough for me is JavaScript. Luckily, I have a software engineer husband who, when I did start that, he was able to help me. He spent time with me, helping me through and helping me try to figure stuff out, which is huge. Not everyone has that resource. But through 100 Devs, we do have a Discord channel with people who are willing to help. So I'm excited for it. I did give up on the Code Academy one, but 2 years later, I'm diving in. So I'm determined to figure out JavaScript and also just kind of go through the project management course, go through the 100 Devs, and figure out where I can use my skills and be happy and good at it. I'm great at healthcare, but if you're from healthcare, you probably know why I'm looking for something else. All right, so that being said, and not going too far into that right now, again, class one was, I keep calling them courses, I'm sorry. Class one was intro, class two was beginning HTML. Then we had some homework, and we had to go in and dive into creating some stuff. So I'll show you a little bit of what I did. And then I get to dive into class 3 homework soon. So this is where I decided that I want to start recording this. I need some accountability for me. And honestly, if some of you want to learn along the way, or you want to put this on while I'm coding in the background and you're coding with me and you can look at my stuff or whatever you want, that's kind of what it's going to be. I might give a little bit of inputs on where I'm at, might talk through some things. If people start to watch and you've got input on what you'd prefer, let me know. And I'd be happy to do silent sessions, talking through brainstorming sessions, whatever it is. But please feel free to reach out. And yeah, so let's share kind of my part 1, show you what I did. All right, so let's dive in. Basically, there is a site that there's a couple of them, but here's a good main one. I'll put the link below, where you can see it's got all the classes that he's done, and kind of helping us get ready, and gives you a little explanation. So when I click on class 1, it's got the video, it's got my homework, and tells me when things are due. Nice part is it tells you by class instead of time. So if you're part of the catch-up crew, the people starting later, you can base it like that. There's also some websites that have like the homework listed out for you as like a Google Docs thing, and you can kind of keep track and follow along. So pretty much I had to watch these 2 videos, and they were about how to learn, and then this Coursera course that was also on learning how to learn. So jumped in, did this. That took me most of the week. And that was kind of our course 1. Then I went, or class 1, like I said, I say those interchangeably, I apologize. So then class 2 was starting with HTML. Like I mentioned, I've got a little bit of a background in it. This homework here is basically a giant document that is overwhelming. So don't be overwhelmed by this. Every single person is overwhelmed by this, including me. So it's something that he wants us to be able to at least like read through it once, and you can come back to it if you want. But that way, when he teaches it to you, you're not hearing it for the first time, and it might click a little bit more. It might make a little bit more sense. So it is long and it takes time. I'm still working my way through this one. I need to have this one done by class 4. So my week is going to be finishing the reading for this. So that's kind of a big one. And then we had to basically make he gave us this image, and it was just part of a BBC page, and the goal was to kind of turn this into some code. And for those who don't know HTML, and honestly, this also might help me explain things. I know I'm on a tangent right now, but doing this might help me explain things so that I retain this better. So let's do it. All right, so the goal of this is just to do the HTML, which means nothing about the way it looks. It's literally just the text and how things are organized essentially on this page. So having words like welcome to BBC, having this these options up here, having all these words and having these in different like containers or sections or things. And yeah, so we had to start from scratch, and it was helpful to honestly read the homework. So for those who don't know a little bit of coding, probably helpful to at least get these 2 lessons done, because it definitely helped with this. Luckily, again, I have a little bit of background, so I was aware. We're using something called, or I'm using, and he uses as well, but it's something I was already familiar with, Visual Code Studio, and it is a free resource that you can download. Just search Visual Code Studio. You can see this is what it looks like over here on the right. See a Visual Code Studio, or Visual Studio Code, sorry. And it essentially makes it so that you can work on the code of things, and then see it in a browser, or see it come to life. So I am going to show class 2. So this is my class 2. That was the image we had to do. We did this in class, so it gave us some knowledge, and he gave us 10 minutes in there and then reviewed it all. So he gave us a walkthrough for the beginning of this. And then we had to go create our own homework or do our homework. So this was kind of what I did for this page. And if I actually show it to you in the browser, so this is what it looked like in Google, you can see it looks nothing like this. And that's completely okay, because HTML is not how things look. CSS is how things work, and we're not there yet. That's going to be later class, I don't know, next week, or I don't know. I haven't gotten that far. I'm trying not to look ahead too much so that I stick with this. So I created like, hey, this would have a logo. It would have a logo. It had this sign-in box area, had the search box, it had the navigation, and then it had all of this information, but it didn't have the pictures. But I did make it so like this is a thing together. This is a section, and this would be a section. This was another section, and I put that together here. And that's kind of what I created here. So this took me probably about 20 minutes, but again, I've done code before, so this will probably take you longer. So the HTML and the CSS, I'm expecting to move a little bit quicker through. So if you are watching this and following along, please don't be intimidated. I have experience with it, so it does come a little bit easier. I did have to Google certain things. Like I knew from, and I've learned about accessibility, taught myself some accessibility things over the years. And I know that I needed to have this English designation, and I went searching for how to do that. That took up some time for me. But really, this is just kind of where I started. And now for class 3, I went and watched class 3. What I do want to point out is how I followed along in the class. So this is essentially, and if you guys have questions on this or how to use this, I do teach people not how to code, but I teach people how to use their computers in an easy way. So if you get stuck on like how to use Visual Code Studio or something, please feel free to reach out. But you can see, cool, we're using the same image. But we went through this brownie thing. So this brownie one is what we did in class. This is what it looked like. And then we did more to it in class 3. Now we didn't actually change anything really with how it looks. It's a different picture, but like we didn't change much really. We changed this form thing at the top, but other than that, like nothing. So while we were going through the class, I had to determine how I wanted to kind of make notes to myself. I could either come into this class 2 document and make the changes, or make it in class 3. What I decided to do is in the class 2 document, I went and made notes to myself. Now these green things are notes that don't show up in your code, but they're things that I didn't do that, hey, I apparently need to remember to do this because it's going to help me be a better coder. So I needed to do this as a list, and I didn't do that. I added this placeholder for search, but I didn't do it as a form, and I needed to add that information. So I gave myself little notes so that in the future I can come back to this and go, oh, okay, I forgot that. Let me go make sure I did it, kind of thing. So I'll use that when I go in and do my homework for class 3. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I finished class 1, class 2, class 3. I'm doing the homework for class 3, finishing up the homework from class 2, and just kind of following along. I think the other part that's kind of helpful to see is I did do a bunch of kind of bookmarks. So this is similar to, let me close this out a little bit. Okay. So this page I found later, and this was the first page I found. So things that you do need to do, sorry, this is going out of order a little bit. Still trying to figure out what I'm doing in these videos for you guys and for myself. But this is basically all the videos. And then when you click on it, it goes into, here's the video, here's info. This kind of does the same thing, just in a slightly different way. One of the things that I don't see on here is the check-in. So there's a couple of things that we need to do. One is if you actually sign into this, you can kind of keep track of it. So you can see, actually now I get to click watched. So, and it just brings me there. So I want to go to all the classes. There we go. And you can see I clicked watched and checked in, and now it kind of graded out. It lets me know, hey, I did this. Cool, good job. But if I want to go back to it, I can still click on it. You can see that's clickable, and it'll bring me to that class. But when you click on these, let's go with the second one. There's a couple things that you have to do. One, you need to check in. So checking in, and I was a little stuck on this. One, I was stuck finding these resources, so I'm going to put them below for you guys, for y'all. And then two is you need to check in. So when you click on that, it brings you to his original, when he started this in 2022, it brings you to this post. You need to, first one, I just kind of responded here. I tweeted a reply. Apparently it's not what I was supposed to do. I don't really use Twitter, so I didn't know what to do. So you click this little retweet button, and then you can say retweet, and it'll post this. Or you can say quote tweet, and then write in what you want. And then when you go to your profile, it will, you can see the first one was I responded, I didn't know what to do, and then I decided to come write a post because I didn't know what to do. So you can see class 2, I actually did it, and I did it correctly with that quote and his post. Or sorry, yeah, okay. And then this was class 3, and did the same thing. So you have to check in. That's one thing. Then you come over and click that you checked in, and then you click follow along materials. Follow along materials are going to give you the homework. So you're going to take this and you're going to download it. If you're not on a Mac, this might look a little bit different. Click download. It's going to bring you to this, and then, or it's going to create a zip file. You're going to go open it, double click it, and it's going to create a file. You might be trying to figure out how to open these things. If you just click on this, it's going to basically open up as a gibberish thing for you. So that's where you need to open it in Visual Code Studio. So when you find it, and you can't do it when it's in Google there, so you need to get it onto your computer. But once you find it, so for instance, it was these files, you can right click and say open with, and open with Visual Code Studio. Or you can click open Visual Code Studio and click and drag it into it. And that's kind of how you'll get your homework, and get the follow along things for the class. Then slides, I personally didn't use these, but you might find this helpful, so it's there. And then it kind of tells you down here, hey, this was class 2, here's what to do. And then once you do it, so I don't know if I'm logged in. Yeah, I am logged in. Okay, so once you're logged in, I've already done this, and I submitted it. So you need to follow one of these, and it was just kind of figuring it out as I went. Submit it, submit your homework. If it's something else, like you just click that you did it. Personally, I've been using something else for my following along of it. So again, I'll put this below, but someone made this, and you can, up on the right, it'll say like copy, and you can make a copy of it. And I've been writing done when I finish it. So as soon as I finish something, like I finished this, I can write done. And that way I know, hey, I did all these things. Cool. I still need to do this, so I haven't marked this done, and then I'm on class 3. So this is kind of where I can keep track of all my homework. And yeah, so click submit. Once you submit your homework, so if you're like this homework file that I did, this guy, this got submitted. And I had to use one of these things to be able to submit it, but once I did, I did. So that's kind of how you can keep track of things and follow along as you go, and get the information for all the classes and get started. All right, so I hope that helps some of you out. I really hope some of you find this useful. And yeah, I'll be back when I start doing my homework for class 3.